On our headlines tonight, Prime Minister Head of Government has put to service some nautical vessels intended to improve work done at the Douala Port Authority. Still in line with his visit, Peter Nsose shines a spotlight on some of these equipment and their various uses. We shall also be bringing to you reactions of phone tax sellers based on the 33% increase levied on new phone owners from the 15th of October 2020, plus the neutralization of a notorious separatist fighter, General Ayeke, in Lebialem in the southwest region, making waves all over Cameroon. And those are our top stories. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining the 6 p.m. newscast on Spectrum Television. I am Josephine Bindzi. Making headlines tonight, the Prime Minister Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, has inaugurated vessels and put to service nautical vessels of the Douala Port Authority. The vessels intended to improve the port's performance comes to solve pressing problems which have cost the Douala Port about 156 billion in the last 10 years. Peter Nsose has details.
Boosting the competitiveness of the Douala Port Authority is paramount if it hopes to maintain its status as leader in the Gulf of Guinea. And in line with the 33rd board session of the port community in April 2017, the revamping of the port of Douala was a key resolution. These 6 nautical vessels are a testimony to the efforts geared towards this vision. The Prime Minister Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, has inaugurated and launched the 6 nautical vessels of the Douala Port Authority Tuesday in the economic capital.
To Douala, particularly to the port of Douala, it's been very edifying. I've seen for myself the usefulness of the equipment that the port has acquired, the dredger amongst others. It's going to help to propel the Douala port into a real center of activity in West Africa and in Central Africa.
The Spanish industrial shipyard won the contract to acquire the multifunctional vessels, a small support board, and mooring vessel estimated at 5.2 billion francs CFA, excluding taxes. The contract also specified training for the navigation personnel.
I think the port of Douala is modernizing itself with all the reforms in terms of security, in terms of logistics, in terms of transport, and it's been very interesting to see, and I'm going to report very positively to the President of the Republic that his reforms are being carried out here in Douala in the port. Thank you.
The ceremony was marked with libation by traditional rulers of the Northwest, Southwest, Far North and Littoral regions, as well as the award of labor medals to deserving workers of the port. The Douala Port Authority hopes to improve its performance with these equipments and make operations fluid. Apart from the new vessels, an extensive rehabilitation program for the nautical and land equipments is also in motion.
Onto this brief, reports now confirm notorious separatist General Ayeke has been neutralized by defense and security forces in Lebialem Wabane subdivision. This has been the outcome of a well-coordinated mission under the commander of the 2nd Joint Military Region. The camp is said to be entrenched and fortified, relegated in the depths of the dense forest of the Lebialem division. About 15 terrorists neutralized behind the camp, with several injured on the run. Kidnapped individuals, including women, were freed during this operation, as seen on the images. Worthy of note is the Meme division has been in collaboration with authorities to track down these separatist fighters. Let's now listen to the senior divisional officer for Meme, who tells us how this operation needed their collaboration.
Pour dire que nous sommes totalement satisfaits. Je ne peux pas le nom des populations de ma zone de compétence. Et c'est l'occasion pour... Et voici les résultats. Vous avez vu le 1er octobre, comment ces combattants saisissent cette porte ouvrant définitive à cette guerre qui n'a fait que trop de mal aux innocents.
Let's now talk urban disorder in Douala. The second attack on inhabitants of Deido yesterday, October 12, has instilled fear in the hearts of inhabitants. On visiting this morning, some parts of the area were still calm while shops were closed. Oni Ladonet, visiting that area, has the following details.
Fear resides in the hearts of inhabitants residents at Daido in the Douala 1 municipality after the second attack from heavily armed unidentified men. For now, we are living in an atmosphere of fear because these young boys are causing insecurity in Douala, precisely in Daido. They are trying to frustrate us. Everyone is scared. When you see people running, you too just have to run. So I just run when I see everyone running. Everybody is scared.
So we were just sitting here yesterday and we saw people were running up and down. So we don't even know whether it's what or we also run. I even go and fare behind there. So I don't know. So the time that I was sitting here and be selling, I saw people were running up and down. So I just run. I don't even know what was happening. I don't know. So I saw even stones everywhere and people were throwing things everywhere. So I don't know. That is all that I can say.
On visiting these neighborhoods in the early hours of the morning, today 13th October 2020, closed shops couldn't go unnoticed. Still at Daido, some shops could be seen open.
Yes, I fear for open my shop. Yesterday I can't open, I even lock. Because I be the fear say the feed the wrong come, they can't thief something or they take your money or they take any of your articles then for store. I used to open for 8 o'clock, then I lock around 10 o'clock. But now I can't open around that 9 o'clock. Yesterday it be 5 o'clock with me I be don't lock because of insecurity.
In order to tackle this problem of insecurity, the chief of this area, together with some youths, have taken some security measures.
Une assise avec le chef supérieur.
We had a meeting with the chief and we decided to tighten security. We started yesterday. We decided that for now, no bikes should go around and shops will have to close early for the security of all.
Ferme un peu tôt pour la sécurité de ceux qui vont venir.
This comes after the governor of the Littoral region announces for the activation of a vigilante group in the different localities in Douala and their cooperation with the forces of law and order. It is worth mentioning that some of these hoodlums have been apprehended.
Coming back to the PM's visit and still in line with his visit, the nautical equipment procured by the Douala Port Authority is part of a vast program to modernize the functioning of the port. The equipment have various uses, as Peter Nsose presents their various uses in his report.
Dika Pondo Aqua is a multipurpose boat serving the transportation of buoys from the service wharf to the predefined geosatellite positions. The craft also has a capacity to conduct bathymetric surveys. It is 37 meters long with a frontal area width of 8 meters, equipped with a 12-meter long crane which can carry goods up to 5 tons. It has a crew capacity of 10 people. The Mencho Force is a buoy support vessel dedicated to the transport of buoy system technicians on the waterways during maintenance works and physical as well as functional inspection of the buoys. With a length of 7 meters and frontal area width of 2.5 meters, it is equipped with a navigation aid device and has a capacity of 6 people. The Lake Barombin bow is an aquatic weed cutter vessel designed to rid waterways of floating waste and seaweed. The mooring vessel has an overall length of 12.35 meters and frontal area width of 5.5 meters. This vessel is a telling testimony of the port's commitment to protecting and preserving the maritime ecosystem. Besides these vessels are 2 dredges, the cutter suction dredger Bifa 50 for water bodies and quarry sites, Its maximum standard dredging depth is 14 meters and has a length of 33 meters and weight 7.8 meters. The suction dredger is used in various mooring, maintenance and construction projects ranging from dredging ports and access channels for removing sand. The self-proclaimed vessel contains a well and is used for dredging sand, clay and ground. The main features are stainers, suction pipes, weave compositors, as well as davits.
And let's now talk taxes on phones. In regards to the 33% phone tax imposed by government, phone sellers have attested to being surprised of the tax and are oblivious to how it will be implemented. Ladone Oni visited ancient tourism, Ancien Troisième in the Douala 2 municipality and puts together the following report.
The shifting of tax burden to consumers comes as a surprise to some phone sellers at Ancien Troisième in the Douala 2 municipality. According to these sellers, no communication or orientation was made on how to effectively implement this new law.
Donc en fait, nous les commerçants, les vendeurs de téléphones que nous sommes, nous avons un très grand problème par rapport à la décision de l'État de faire dédouaner les clients des téléphones que nous vendons.
With the phone sellers, we have a big issue concerning the state's decision to shift the tax to consumers because we're not informed. We don't know how it will work. It's true there's a communique on it, but I think majority of the sellers are not aware of that. We don't know how to work with customers from the 15th. We don't know how to interact with them because we are not informed of what will happen.
Nous ne savons pas quoi leur dire exactement parce que nous ne sommes pas vraiment informés. La majorité des commerçants parmi nous ne sont vraiment pas informés de ce qui va se passer le 15. Donc nous ne savons vraiment pas comment gérer nos clients à partir du 15.
For the retailers, the cost price of a mobile phone will be fixed from the purchasing price given by the wholesaler.
Bon, c'est vrai que je ne peux pas exactement vous dire normalement comment ça devrait se passer en principe. Vous voyez, mais le problème c'est quoi? Le problème c'est que comme nous prenons en principe,
I cannot really explain how it will work. Normally we buy from wholesaling companies like Techno, Infinix, Itel. We don't know. Customers do not even know how things will work. We don't know if they will add in on our cost price or will maintain the same purchasing price.
Et puis ça nous embête, on ne sait pas si eux ils vont nous impliquer ça sur nos prix de revient ou bien si on va maintenir le même prix que nous achetions avant. C'est ça le véritable problème.
This phone tax is a governmental order and will take effect from Thursday, 15th October 2020.
On to this. Of the ongoing socio-political upheavals in the nation. This follows similar acts of violence and attacks on Cameroonian embassies in London and Paris being the most recent victims. And on our international page, Israeli and Palestinians are closely following the U.S. elections. For many in the U.S., incumbent Donald Trump is the most pro-Israeli U.S. president in history. Some in the Jewish state fear that Joe Biden's victory could mean a change in U.S. foreign policy. On one hand, Palestinians would not welcome that. Details with the VOA.
Many Israelis thank President Trump for moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and orchestrating the recent agreements between Israel and the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. And many of them, especially on the right, hope for his re-election.
That if Trump is re-elected, I think that one thing that we can see being pushed forward, for example, is a defense pact with Israel. There was a lot of talk about that during the Trump first term. I also think that President Trump will probably continue to push for increased links between Israel and the Arab and Muslim world, just like we saw with the UAE and Bahrain.
On the other hand, Palestinians and many Israeli leftists say it's time for Trump to go.
As a Palestinian and deeply involved in what is happening here and what the U.S. under Trump has done for the last 4 years, I want to see a change. And not because I have so much hope that a Biden presidency will change the tables and put the U.S. on the right track, but I do think the damage will stop.
Many Israelis, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, strongly oppose the Iran nuclear deal negotiated by U.S. President Barack Obama. They applauded the Trump administration's withdrawal from that deal and worry that Joe Biden could rejoin it. As Obama's vice president, he is associated with the Iran deal and other American Middle East policies that some see as hostile to Israel.
Israeli government, the Prime Minister in particular, and also the Israeli public are very much concerned about a Biden victory. The reasons for this are two. One is his service in the Obama administration. Israeli government and most Israelis consider the Obama's approach and policies toward Iran, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and other issues to be a disaster.
But other analysts contend that both Democratic and Republican administrations have been generally supportive of Israel. They say a Biden victory could restart the moribund Israeli-Palestinian peace process, which would be in the interest of both sides.
A victory for Joe Biden and the Democratic Party for what it will mean for Israel and the area will probably mean going back to a peace process that involves two parties and not one party and the United States. I don't think that we will see a recurrence of the deal of the century that President Trump and his administration launched.
As important as the results of the U.S. election are for the region, Israelis are more focused on what they see as their own government's corruption and failed handling of the COVID-19 crisis. Linda Gradstein for VOA News, Jerusalem.
And that does it for tonight's edition of the news. It's been a pleasure to bring the news to you. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the news in the French language, which comes up at 8 p.m. with René Narcisse Moto. We will be back tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m.